Ever feel like you're wandering through a maze when you're dealing with some companies? Like trying to find information, hitting dead ends, wishing you had some kind of map?
I know what you mean.
Well, today's deep dive, we're all about building that map.
Okay.
A customer journey map is what they call it. We're diving into your lecture notes on understanding customer journey mapping. It's kind of like a crash course for you, but way more fun than being back in business school.
And a lot less expensive, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, right. No student loan debt here.
Exactly.
But no, seriously, by the time we're done with this, you'll not only know what this whole customer journey mapping thing is, but you'll understand why it's become like so important, kind of a secret weapon for these businesses that really seem to get their customers.
Right.
So, like with any good construction project, we've got to start with the foundation here.
Mhm.
What exactly are we talking about when we use this term customer journey mapping?
Well, at its most basic level, it's really all about visualizing the experience that a customer has from their perspective. So imagine that you're creating a map that tracks every single interaction a customer has with a particular brand.
Okay.
From the very first moment that they become aware of it,
Okay.
through the entire process of them deciding whether or not they want to do business with the brand, all the way through to the experience they have after they've made a purchase and beyond.
Okay, I'm already liking where this is going because wandering around aimlessly is not a good look for a business.
It is not. For anyone, really.
Through anyone, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where this customer journey mapping comes in, right?
Yeah, it gives businesses a very clear picture of what their customers are actually experiencing at every single stage of their interaction with the brand.
So it's less about what the company wants to have happen and more about what really goes down for the person on the other side of things.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so give me this so what here. Why should our listener, who probably has a million things going on, actually care about any of this?
Well, at the end of the day, it's about creating happier, more loyal customers.
Mm.
And, your notes mentioned an enhanced customer experience, but think about a company like Amazon. They've practically written the book on this whole customer journey mapping thing to create these incredibly smooth and personalized experiences. And that's a big part of why people just keep going back to Amazon.
Okay, that's huge because keeping those customers happy is way cheaper than trying to constantly find new ones. Right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Your notes also mention that this mapping can help identify those really frustrating pain points that make people just jump ship and go somewhere else. I'm thinking about the times I've been put on hold for like an hour, listening to that terrible elevator music.
Awful.
Rage-inducing.
Yeah.
It's the
And it's
worst.
totally avoidable with a little bit more attention paid to the customer journey.
Right.
Right. So by identifying those friction points, whether it's a long wait time, a website that's really confusing to navigate, or a clunky checkout process,
Yeah.
businesses can address those issues head on and prevent those customers from getting so frustrated they just take their business elsewhere.
It's like they're saying, don't make them suffer through the awful hold music. Just like fix the problem before they even have to pick up the phone.
That's the idea, yeah. And it makes a huge difference.
I bet it does. So we keep talking about this map, but how do we actually create one of these things? Is it like those old fantasy novel maps with like mountains and rivers and dragons?
Well, we'll leave the dragons off of this particular map, but visualizing it is key.
Okay.
Your notes actually break this whole process down into 7 steps.
7 steps to customer journey mapping mastery. Okay, I'm ready to conquer this quest. Lay it on me.
All right, so step 1 is defining your goals. What is it that you're actually hoping to achieve with this map?
Yeah.
Are you trying to attract brand new customers? Are you trying to smooth out that checkout process we were just talking about?
Right.
Or maybe you really want to boost customer loyalty after somebody makes a purchase, so it's like setting your compass before you even start the journey.
Gotta know where we're going, right?
Exactly.
So once we have our destination in mind, what's next?
Well, then it's all about understanding our travelers.
Okay.
And this is where those customer personas come in.
Okay.
So we're talking about creating those detailed profiles of your ideal customers.
Got it.
What are their demographics? What are they interested in? What are their pain points even?
So instead of just saying we want to reach everybody who likes pizza, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Are they thin crust connoisseurs, deep dish devotees, or even like those pineapple on pizza rebels?
Exactly, yeah. The more specific you can be, the better.
Yeah.
Because when you know exactly who it is you're trying to reach, every other decision you make along the way in this journey is going to be more impactful.
Makes sense. Okay, goals, check. Customer personas, check. Now, how do we actually map out their experience?
Well, that's where step 3 comes in.
Yeah.
We have to outline the stages of the customer journey.
Okay.
So we touched on this a little bit earlier with the awareness, the consideration, the decision, and then the post-purchase experience. You could think of these as like the major milestones on your map.
Okay, so those are like the big cities you want your customer to visit on their journey. But what about all the little stops they make along the way?
Well, those are the touch points.
Okay.
That's step 4. Every single interaction a customer has with your brand, that's a touch point. We're talking about website visits, social media engagements, emails they open, online reviews they might read, even those in-store experiences if you have a physical location.
Wow, that's a lot to consider. It's like we're not just mapping out the highways here, we're looking at every back road and scenic overlook, too.
Exactly. And some of those scenic overlooks, let's call them, are easier to miss than others. Your notes mention how important it is to think beyond just the obvious.
Okay. Like, for example, how important the unboxing experience can be for a customer's overall impression of a product and of your brand.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually ordered a new pair of headphones recently, and the way they packaged it, it was like opening up a present.
I love that.
Yeah, it totally made me more excited about the product.
You see, and it's those little details that can really elevate a good customer journey to a truly memorable one.
For sure. Okay, so we've got our stages, we've got our touch points. It's starting to feel like a real map now.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more to it than just plotting locations, right?
Right.
What about, like, the emotional side of things? How do we factor that in?
Well, that's where step 5 gets really interesting because now we're talking about understanding the customer's emotions at each stage.
Okay.
Because it's one thing to know that somebody visited your website,
Okay.
but it's another thing entirely to know how that visit actually made them feel.
So we're going beyond just the data and tapping into the empathy. Did they feel welcomed and excited when they landed on your homepage?
Mhm.
Or did they feel frustrated by a clunky interface and a confusing navigation?
Oh man, it's like the difference between arriving at a beautiful resort with a like refreshing welcome drink and then showing up at like a dingy motel with flickering lights and questionable smells.
Right, exactly.
One makes you want to stay forever, the other has you running for the hills.
100%. Identifying those emotional roadblocks, that's just as important as figuring out where the logistical ones are.
This is like totally reminding me of that time I was trying to navigate a rental car company's website one time. It was like trying to solve a riddle just to reserve a car.
Or worse.
By the end, I was ready to just like hail a rickshaw.
Totally.
Speaking of mapping disasters, how do we actually bring all of this information together into an actual usable map?
Well, that's step 6.
Yeah.
You have to choose the right format to visualize everything. It could be a flowchart, it could be a timeline, it could even be an infographic. Whatever it is that helps you and your team clearly see the journey and all those key elements that we've been talking about.
So we've got options. It's like choosing between a classic paper map, a GPS system, or even one of those cool 3D models.
Exactly. It's about finding the one that best suits your needs, your company, and helps you to communicate that journey really effectively.
Makes sense. But even with like the best map in the world, sometimes you still hit an unexpected detour or, a road closure. So how do we make sure our customer journey map stays relevant and up to date?
Well, that is where the 7th and final step comes in. Testing, iterating, and refining.
Okay.
So a customer journey map, it isn't just some static document that you make once and then forget about. It needs to evolve as your customers' needs and their behaviors evolve too.
So it's an ongoing process, kind of like how those map apps on your phone are constantly updating based on traffic patterns and, road closures and stuff like that. It's all about staying flexible and adapting to, the ever-changing landscape.
Exactly. So you should be regularly reviewing your map, gathering feedback from your customers, from your team, and don't be afraid to make adjustments based on what you learn.
This is reminding me of those road trip games where you have to guess how many miles until the next rest stop.
Yeah.
Sometimes you nail it and sometimes you're way off. But the important thing is you learn and you keep adjusting your strategy as you go. Speaking of learning, what are some like surprising insights that you found in your research that you could share? I'm ready for some aha moments here.
Okay.
Give me the inside scoop. Lay some knowledge on me. What were some of the big aha moments from your research?
Well, one thing that really jumped out from the notes was this stat about how companies that are actually using customer journey mapping in their business, they see a 62% increase in customer satisfaction.
62%. Whoa. That's not just a happy customer. That's a whole parade of them doing the wave.
Right.
So Clearly, this stuff is making a difference.
It really does, and it highlights how important it is to really understand the customer's perspective. But I mean, it's not always easy.
What do you mean? Where does it get tricky?
There's this kind of constant tension between technology and empathy.
Okay.
Because on the one hand, we have so much data at our fingertips now,
Right.
and that data can be incredibly valuable.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Knowing what people are clicking on, how long they're looking at a particular page, that's like gold, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But we can't let all of that data overshadow the human element.
Okay, how so?
It's like, you can track every move that someone makes in a store with cameras,
Okay.
but you're never going to really understand why they were drawn to that one item on the shelf, why they hesitated, why they ultimately decided to buy it or not buy it,
Okay.
unless you actually talk to them.
Yeah. Ah, so it's not just about the what, it's the why behind the what.
Exactly.
That.
So, yeah, the data can tell you where the potholes are in that customer journey.
Right.
But empathy, that's what helps you to understand, like, why those potholes are there in the first place.
Makes sense.
And that deeper understanding that can help you to come up with much more effective solutions in the long run.
That makes a lot of sense. Are there any other, like, potential pitfalls that businesses should be aware of as they go down this road?
Well, your notes also touched on some of the ethical consideration
Right.
around personalization, which is a really hot topic these days.
Yeah, big time. Personalization, that whole thing, that fine line between, wow, they really get me, and whoa, this is creepy.
Exactly.
How do you find that balance? How do you walk that tightrope?
Well, I think it comes down to transparency and control. So first of all, be upfront with your customers. Tell them what data you're collecting,
Okay.
how you're using it to personalize that experience for them. And then, very importantly, always give them the option to opt out if they're just not comfortable with it.
So don't just assume everyone wants their name popping up on a billboard because they Googled, like, best pizza near me one time.
Exactly. Respect the boundaries.
Respect the boundary.
Because if you don't, they're going to go somewhere else. And at the end of the day, this customer journey map, it should be about creating a better experience for actual human beings,
Right.
not just optimizing for data points.
Well said. Could not agree more. As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of customer journey mapping, what is like the main takeaway, the one thing you really want our listeners to walk away with today?
I'd say, the process might seem kind of complex at first,
Right.
but just remember the goal is actually very simple.
Yeah.
Create a customer experience that is smooth, enjoyable, and that ultimately leads to those happy, loyal customers that every business wants.
Beautifully put. We've gone from zero to map making heroes in like what feels like just a few minutes.
I know, right?
You heard it here first, folks. Customer journey mapping. It's not just some like fancy business buzzword. It's like the secret sauce for creating these amazing experiences that make people actually want to do business with you. Keep coming back for more. Now go forth and map your way to customer happiness.